Hello, it's graduation season, and I bet you're like me and you need a few of these graduation cards. So I'm going to show you how to do this little cap. It's just done with punches, and then complete this card with the Lift Me Up set. So this is a really fun set that has a hot air balloon theme, works for birthday, the graduation, just being that, just trying to lift somebody's spirits. I'm also using the marbled background stamp, the softly falling embossing folder, and then this is the die set that coordinates with the Lift Me Up, but to find it in my online store, it is the Up and Away Thinlits dies. And then we're kind of an in-between period. You may have actually gotten this die set during our last celebration with the Amazing, the You, and the Celebrate. So it was available during celebration just a few months ago. So we're a couple of weeks now where this isn't available, but will be available June 1st in the new Stampin' Up, the 2018-2019 Stampin' Up catalog. And I'm going to use this Celebrate die with a little bit of glimmer paper, the Dazzling Diamonds glimmer paper, and it's just gorgeous. So to start out my card, I have my supplies, and then to do my little cap, I have my other supplies over here. I will also be using my Stampin' Trimmer to do that hat. Okay, so to do my background, I'm going to do the cap next, but I'm going to do the background first, give it a chance to dry. So I'm using the Stamparatus. This will also be available in the 2018-19 catalog, Stampin' Up catalog, and it will be in the regular catalog. And I'm using the Daffodil Delight. Okay, so I'm stamping it once there. And then I'm actually going to stamp it again. I want a little more. I want a really light background. So I've stamped it twice onto my scrap paper. And then this is where it's going to go right in for stamping. That's where it lands on my background paper. And then I'm going to stamp that. Okay, so there I have my background with the soft marbled background. And this is the You Soar Above the Rest, congratulations image, and I'm just going to stamp this in the lower corner with Night of Navy. And I also have a sneak peek for you of another new product that's going to be in the new catalog, and that is the Stampin' Up chamois, and it's pretty wonderful. I love it. It really gets the ink off, and it doesn't leave any type of fibers behind. Okay, so there's my background. I'm going to set that aside to dry, and now I'm going to show you how to make that cap. So what do I have here? I have a couple of pieces. I'm using the crushed curry because this is the color of our local school, and I'm going to show you how I do that. I will need, this is 5/8 inch wide, and then, just a couple inches long. It's too long for what I need, but it works better if it's longer. And then this is 5/8 inch by 5/8 inch cut in a square. So I decided that was the size of the hat I want. So you can just adjust your pieces to make them, if you want a smaller or larger hat. So I went with 5/8 inch wide. So like I said, this is cut to, unlock it here. This is 5/8 inch wide and then just longer than I need. So what I'm going to do is I need to start with my first angled cut, and I want a 45-degree angle. And I have to give a shout out to my downline, Mary Fran. She helped me. At our last meeting, she did our make and take, and she brought this, and I'm just loving so far. I've made a lot of these little caps. Okay, so then I just turned it around, and she actually had this part done for us. So I'm just kind of made up the way that made sense for me to do it. Okay, so I'm going over about 5/8 of an inch, just rotated that around, and now I've lined up that angle. Cut this and I'll show you. So I've lined up that first angle that I cut, that 45-degree angle, with the side marking here, and then cut that. So I have a parallel lines, and I have my top. And I think that's pretty fun. That's the mortar board of my cap. So now we have the center of my 5/8 by 5/8 inch square is marked. So just a little pencil mark the center. I'm using this Post-it note just to hold me. This is a 1/2 inch circle punch. And so I'm going to just punch a little portion of that 1/2 inch circle from the corner to the middle. Okay, and then we'll just punch 2 of those so that we get that look for the cap. And that I use the Post-it note just to help me hold it in place. So then the next step is just to put that spot there, okay? And then we'll put that down, and I can move it down a little bit. I had it a little bit high, meaning I wanted a little more cap coming down. And I just tried to line up that bottom point with approximately the center of my little curved areas. It's, believe me, not perfect by any means, but I think that you get the idea. And in the gist of the entire card, it's not going to be a big deal. And there is my graduation cap with the 1/2-inch circle and the Stampin' Up! Trimmer. Okay, so now I'm just going to trim a little sliver of that off. And this is going to be my tassel. I'm going to use that to cut out my balloon later. And I'll just put that down. I'm going to trim it off a little bit smaller after the glue has dried. Just put a little spot of glue in the center there with my fine tip glue, and then just set the end into that glue and let it dry. Just like that. And then once that dries, I'll take and trim this off because my tassel's too long. Okay, so for that Celebrate now, I'm going to use that die. It is easier to put the adhesive on the back first. So this is a little bit of the Sizzix sheet cut to the same size as that piece of glimmer paper. Let's see if I can get this off of there. There we go. So I've taken off the release sheet, and then we'll just put this on the back. And then after we have cut it out, we'll remove the back release sheet, and then it'll be ready to stick. So here is my die. I'm going to run this through the Big Shot a few times back and forth since this glimmer paper is pretty thick. I have a 1.5 by 5.5 inch piece of crushed curry cardstock, and this is on the card front. I'm choosing the area where the embossing dots are kind of spread out so they're not so tight together. I will have all the dimensions on my blog, mystamplady.com, so you can go there to see them. So the remaining portion is the balloon, and so I'm going to do the detailed balloon, and then out of this other little piece here I'm going to cut the portion of the background that's going to be highlighting the front. So we'll run these through the Big Shot, and then after I cut them out, I'll show you what the next step is. Okay, so I'm removing the balloon from the die. Just a couple of little ones that did not come out, so let's just pop those out. There we go. And I did run this through the Big Shot a few times so that I would get a nice good cut. And then these are the pieces that will go on the back side to make it solid. So take that there. I'm going to just brush off my paper. Okay, so now I have my silicone pad. I'm going to put this down, and then I'm just putting adhesive on the back side, and then that adhesive will release off the silicone pad, and then I'll just wipe any that I don't need on there afterwards away. Okay, there you go. An adhesive remover would work really well to get that excess adhesive out of there, or else you can rub it away, or the other option is to use that Sizzix sheet like I did on the back of the Celebrate. So let's put our card together here. The first part is to put down this piece here. Let's just place that down there. Okay, let's put down this piece. Want to make sure I leave room for that cap up there. Trim off my excess tassel. There we go. Let's put that down. Just love the cap. I mean, it's just a fun way to add a little bit to this card. So see, I'm gonna probably have to put mini glue dot underneath there. Put a little more glue here. That will hold that part. Okay, so now let's remove that backing from the Celebrate. And I want to pop that little space out of that E. You don't want to, I'm touching it a little too much. So actually I think I'll put it down first and then I'll get those E's out. You don't want to touch it too much because every time you touch it, you're taking a little bit more of that adhesive off. This one back there. Okay, I'm using just a little bit of a retired navy blue twine that we have. I could have used white, could pick a different color. I could have used white and just left it white, or I could have spritzed it with a little bit of ink to make it navy. But since I had a little bit left, I thought I would use this just to make my life a little easier right now. And then I'll just put a little spot of glue down there, and then we'll put that little Celebrate there. And that's how you make a little graduation cap and a fun graduation card. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me, Chris at mystamplady.com. And you can find all of the supplies in my online store at shopwithmystamplady.com. Thanks so much for watching.